You're just so overwhelmed with the idea that I've got a diagnosis of cancer. I have to have a transplant, and most people who are about to have transplants don't even understand what a transplant entails.
No one ever knows that this is going to happen to you. And certainly we never imagined that our daughter would have Diamond-Blackfan anemia, need blood transfusions, need a bone marrow transplant.
There's a lot of people in your community who could get a bone marrow disorder and require a bone marrow transplant. You may not need that kind of an organization before that diagnosis, but after that diagnosis, it's pretty interesting how that number to the Bone Marrow Foundation is going to be a very important number for you.
Jen and I never really imagined that we would be on the other side of, I guess, lack of a better word, charity. I can't imagine what it would be like to go through it without organizations like the Bone Marrow Foundation.
Patients who undergo transplants are literally in a battle for their lives. These patients are literally rebuilding their immune system and their blood system. This requires an enormous amount of energy.
The ramifications of really serious diagnoses are tremendous and not really usually appreciated, I think, by people until they find themselves in a situation like that. I was a working actor when I was diagnosed. I had to give up my job. I mean, I lived month to month. I had a girlfriend who had to give up her job. Part of my treatment eventually took place in a distant city.
Many of these patients are not strong enough to take care of themselves. They need, and it is essential for a safe transplant, for them to have a caregiver 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So the whole process between starting the transplant and getting back to the point they were before can sometimes take anywhere between 6 months to a year. Obviously, these patients are not working. Obviously, the caregiver has to take time off to take care of them. Sometimes the hardest part is not the transplant procedure by itself, but all the logistics. Who will take care of my children? Who will take care of my house? Who will take care of my dog? And although the patients are very involved, sometimes they need a lot of help.
At the time, I wasn't working. I was in grad school, and I took a year off to deal with my treatment. So, you know, with no income, obviously, that kind of support was very, very critical.
When you're in the midst of something like this, the level of stress and exhaustion is tremendous. And to have a resource like that to go to, and to have some fallback position financially is just indescribably important.
The Bone Marrow Foundation, which I've been affiliated with for quite a long time, plays a critical role in helping families to deal with going through the process of a bone marrow transplant. So for people who are coming to, let's say, Memorial Sloan Kettering, which is on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, people need a place to stay, sometimes for the first 3 months, and it can be very expensive, the accommodations and the cost of living, getting meals and other things. Certainly we find many people who come from small towns quite shocked at all the various expenses. And so the Bone Marrow Foundation has been very good there as well in terms of helping people with transportation, with the cost of accommodations.
Some of the procedures that Katie went under were not covered by insurance, so it was very expensive. As well as my husband had to take off work, I had to take off work and be with her, and traveling to the hospital and getting her treatments and trying to stay with her is very financially overwhelming.
The foundation is really instrumental in easing a patient's and their family's financial burden, and by doing that, they're in fact easing the person's emotional burden.
the fact that I get to wake up every day and look out the window and say, it's raining, I guess I better put on a raincoat. Whatever. I mean, the fact that I am alive is because people have donated money.
A direct patient aid organization that has access to good information that's filtered by people who've seen other people go through the same thing is invaluable, and just a terrible, terrible rarity in the world today.
One of the biggest challenges that patients and their families have during transplant is that their medical insurance does not cover all the costs involved. And that is where the Bone Marrow Foundation comes in to fill that gap.
Be a lifeline.
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 Please be a lifeline.